The football app with Hollywood Balls and with Kevin Campbell. Still other games to cover. Some big games as well. We talked about who's going to be staying up, who's going in the Champions League. But there's still a lot of games to cover, Kev. Again, Burnley are playing Brighton, Battle of the Bees.
Battle of the Bees, and it's at Burnley's last home game. I'm sure Sean Dyche is going to want to go out with a bang. Listen, this is a must-win game, I believe, for Burnley. Yet another good campaign in the Premier League on a limited budget. Brighton are safe now as well. So, it's going to be Graham Potter's done a good job there, keeping them up. But I can't see anything other than a Burnley win, to be honest. And, Sean Dyche being the happier manager at the end.
Could it be Sean Dyche's last game in charge of Burnley?
It could, Pete. I must say it could, but it's a difficult one because with the current climate and he's done such a good job at Burnley. Sometimes the hierarchy just has to ease them purse strings a little bit and give him a bit more to work with. Because he's done a tremendous job at the football club.
Yeah.
But has he taken them as far as he can go? Well, we're going to see. But I'd like to think he hasn't, because one of my mates, Ian Wones, is number 2, and they're doing a really good job at Burnley.
Okay, now someone not doing such a good job for their manager is Crystal Palace. They're on a bit of a horrendous run, and Roy Hodgson, again, as all the media will do, they're questioning. They've got a real toughie today at home, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got the Spurs at home. Look, since the restart, Crystal Palace have really been awful. But you know what, Pete? A lot of the games, they've played a lot of the top teams, and I've watched a lot of the games, and they've given it a good go, but they've suffered so many injuries, and they haven't got a big squad, so the same players have to keep playing, and that is always difficult, because when fatigue starts kicking in, last 15 minutes of games or last 20, 15 minutes of games become even more difficult. And they just haven't been able to get over the line. And I don't see them getting anything out of this game either. I think Spurs have been pretty decent of late. And I think Spurs are going to beat them in this game.
Another game that probably won't be high on Norwich City fans' list is a trip to the Etihad, going to Man City. But you know what? Norwich now, they know their fate, and they're going to be playing with no pressure. And it's always these sort of games where they just might spring a result. I can't see it myself, but Norwich are at Man City.
Well, don't forget, Pete, Norwich beat Man City at Carrow Road. And what a result that was. So, the minnow can beat the big boy. But I can't see, not at the Etihad Stadium. Look, Norwich go for the day out and go for they go for the experience. Some of them good young players they've got. I think there'll be some scouts watching this game to see if they can perform. These players can perform against City again and cement their transfers from the club, because I think they've got some tremendous young players at Norwich, but they just haven't been experienced enough.
Will they be able to hang on to those players? That's the question.
No, I don't think so. I think the Norwich model is to develop and sell, and there's quite a few of their young players who could be coveted by Premier League sides. So I think this is a home win, but this is the shop window for quite a few of the Norwich lads.
A very intriguing game down on the south coast for me is Southampton. They've done well. Again, it just proves sticking with your manager and giving him a chance, because everyone was shouting, he'd lost 6 in a row, and Ralph down on the south coast, he wasn't enjoying it, and then all of a sudden it just clicked. His ethos clicked. His team started playing. He built a side around Ward-Prowse, and they're looking good. And I think it's a really attractive game against Sheffield United today.
And listen, Southampton are a good side. You got to give credit to Ralph Hasenhüttl and the staff. And you know what? The hierarchy at the club. Because after they lost 9-0 to Leicester, second bottom, it would have been easy to pull the trigger, wouldn't it? But they believe in the process. They believe in the project. And it only goes to show Everything is going to plan now for Southampton. Do you know Southampton are a tough team? They've got one of the hottest strikers in the Premier League in Danny Ings, who has found his form. He's come back in the restart fitter, and he's looking the part. So fair play to them. But, manager of the year for me is Chris Wilder. What he's done with Sheffield United, just coming up from the Championship and surprising everybody. They can't qualify for Europe in the league, but I think there might be a route if, I think if Chelsea win the FA Cup or whatever, there might be a route for them or whatever, but that's not going to happen, is it, Pete? Let's be honest. So
Arsenal's cut, isn't it? We know that.
Well, exactly. Me being a gooner, but what a fantastic season they've had. Maybe running out of a little bit of steam right now because they do play a really aggressive game. It's all action, it's all loads of energy, and you tend to get punished in the Premier League. So, with a bit of luck, this would be a good game. I fancy Southampton to take this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if if Sheffield United got something out of this game, because they have proved to be a very difficult outfit to play against.
I think it'll be a high-scoring draw. Special mention, though, because I was speaking to Tony DeRigo, who's now ambassador for Leeds, just last week. And we were talking about Leeds and coming up and what they were going to do. And he's mentioned using that Sheffield United model, because that's something, that near neighbours, they'll look at and think, well, if Sheffield United have done it, Leeds need to come up and sort of, they need to do the same thing, basically.
Stick to the same.
Same principle.
It's a good point. It's a good point. But you know what, Pete? I'm not happy with you. You've not mentioned one of my old teams coming up as well.
I haven't, and I need to, because it looked like they weren't going to do it. And I have to say, for Slaven Bilic and West Brom, and I'm going to make a point about West Brom. West Brom are as close a side in the Midlands to Newcastle. They play in front of similar fervent fans. They've got the stripes. Now, if you look at next season's strip, okay, 2020, 2021, West Brom and Newcastle have the same style strip from Puma, exactly the same. So there you go. So a special mention, just different colours.
Just different colours, yeah.
But yeah, I'm delighted for West Brom because it's great. They're going to have their derbies back with Wolves. They're a proper club. They're proper fans, and I love their manager.
Yeah, I think Slaven's done a great job. Look, and I done a piece on the radio yesterday, and they were asking me about, what kind of job he done. I said, look, they just about with their fingernails got over the line in the end. But I said it's a 46-game season in the Championship, and it's brutal in the Championship because everybody could beat everybody, but they got there. It's not a matter of, not getting there. They've got there. They're in the Premier League automatically now. And now they could start building for the Premier League. Leeds the same. You've got to start building for the Premier League. And then obviously you've got the playoffs, coming up. Brentford just missed out. Fulham missed out. And then you've got Cardiff and Swansea. Could you imagine that being oh, geez. I mean, the playoffs are going to be very, very tough. But do you know what? What an effort West Bromwich Albion put into to claw themselves over that line in the end. Brilliant.
It's interesting you say that because as a fan of Newcastle and having been involved in many championship campaigns for my sins, you're right, it doesn't matter how you get out of there because at the start of the season, it's so many games. You seem to be playing like 3 times a week. But you would take second as long as you get up there and you stay out of the playoff. As long as you get up there, it doesn't matter. And then if you look at Leeds, they did the same thing. They focused. Once they were up, once that promotion was sealed, then they could look at maybe going up as division, as championship winners. But it doesn't matter. And a special mention to another of your old clubs because it is what you say. It's about the season, not the last 6 games. And Forest fell away and everyone's saying, oh, it was a disaster, right at the wrong time. Well, it's over 46 games and not the last 6. Yeah,
it's over 46 games, Look, and it for Forest, it went down to the last game.
Yeah.
Because, they were playing against Stoke, where my son's at. And they were looking pretty. You weren't expecting a rout from Stoke. But here's the difference. Probably they had one eye on the playoff. And you can't afford to do that in the Championship. The moment you take your eye off the ball, you go behind, you equalise. Then Stoke get 2-1 up, 3-1 up. and then you're scrambling, and you throw all, you throw all caution to the wind, and then you get done for, and that lets Swansea in the back door. So, Lamucci, the manager, was distraught at the end, and I'm sure the players are distraught. But you're right, Pete. It is over 46 games of the season, but to let it fall away in that last game is so tough to take.
It's very disappointing, and I know quite a few Forest fans. Now, speaking of sort of the end of the season, it is the end of the season, but it's going to be starting again in like a couple of weeks' time, as we know. But one of the great things with the football app is that you can, and I've been playing with it all, not that I've got many to choose from, but when you select your team, you can then go back and look through the season's highlights and see the best games, from the opening day at Spurs to beating Manchester United with Matty Longstaff scoring on his home debut with the Gallagher end. All great stuff, and all football fans can do the same. Great part of it, isn't it, to remember the good parts of the season?
I think so. It's kind of like a season review type thing inside the football app. You pick your team, and then you can go back and reminisce. So especially as the season's finishing, there won't be a big gap now, so everybody could take their time and check all the links and the videos and all the comments out as well. The comments are quite fun to look at as well on the football app. So, really looking forward to going over my teams. And well, I've got quite a few teams, Pete.
Yeah, you be busy.
I'll be busy on the football app.
Good stuff. Okay, massive thanks to Kevin Campbell and, of course, all of you guys for listening. So it's me, Geordie Pete Redding, signing out with Hollywood Balls and the Football App. We'll see you next time.